Okay. Hello class. Today we're going to be going over the causes of World War II. In today's lesson we have two learning targets. The first is I can identify the causes of World War II. Second is I can explain how the Treaty of Versailles and Hitler contributed to the war. First, we're going to go over the scenario here. Imagine you're a country. You lost land after a huge war. You owe huge amounts of money to multiple different countries. Your people and leaders all feel humiliated by other nations. You're experiencing massive unemployment and high inflation rates. But despite all this, you have a leader promising to restore national pride. Okay, now the class would reflect over this either individually or as a group, whichever one they feel comfortable with. They would do that for about 2 to 3 minutes, or if they wrap up sooner. After that, we will talk about it as a class, and they will reflect over this question here. The first thing they would say is what problems this could create. They could compile a list here up on the board. Could this lead to another war? Why and why not? Students can come up to the board, share their thoughts, or they can stay in their seat if that's what they feel more comfortable with. After this, I'll start up again and say, great answers. Now we're going to look at more specific things about how this happened in real life. The first thing is the Treaty of Versailles. The Treaty of Versailles was created in 1919. This treaty officially ended World War I and placed heavy punishments on Germany. Basically, the treaty put all blame of the World War I on Germany. So Germany had to give up any land that they had gained during the time, which was roughly 10%. They had to pay large amounts of money, also known as reparations, to other countries for any damages they caused in World War I. This ultimately led to their money inflating to a point where it's almost worth nothing, just worth as much as paper. So this spiraled them down into a deep depression where just everyone basically turned to poverty. Their leaders were struggling. Their military was also greatly reduced to a point where they were limited to how many fleet ships they could have, how many troops, type of weapons, where they could fight, what they could be involved in, all things like that. These punishments ultimately left Germany weak and struggling. It just kind of set them back to a point where they could almost not recover. Now as a class here, we'll go over how we think this could have affected Germany. I'll give them another 1 to 2 minutes here to reflect over this, look at their notes, and then we'll come together as a class and they'll share as a group or have one speaker tell me what they think Germany is affected, and I will dismiss them and we'll move on and I will show them the effects. Here are the effects on Germany. After the treaty, Germany faced serious problems. As I said before, their economy collapsed. The face value of the dollar basically plummeted to nothing. Piles of cash were used to buy simple things like groceries or pay for utilities. Many people were unemployed due to the high poverty rates, and the citizens frankly felt angry and humiliated because they did not deserve that they were behind World War I. They didn't feel like they were the cause behind it, so they didn't feel like they deserved any of this. So they wanted change. They were desperate. They were just looking for a new leader that was willing to change anything. With this was a perfect setup for the rise of a dictator like Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler became a powerful leader by taking advantage of all these problems that Germany had. He promised to rebuild Germany's economy and military. He blamed other countries and groups for Germany's struggles, creating scapegoats. He gained support from people who were angry and desperate. Once in power, Hitler ignored the Treaty of Versailles and began expanding Germany's control. He used his power in this desperation to make people overlook problems he might have had and to emphasize that he was just there to help support and boost Germany's economy and strengthen their military and to bring them back to the power that they once were before this World War I and the treaty was put in place. Another thing that led to the rise, led to World War II was the failure of the League of Nations. This was created after World War I, where lots of powerhouse countries were created together into a group to prevent future wars, but ultimately it failed pretty quickly. USA was not a part of it after it, so it lacked power. Other main countries left it after there was no USA, so the military power dropped immediately, so it couldn't really stop aggressive nations like Germany, so it basically fizzled into nothing. Appeasement. The Munich Agreement, Britain and France initially gave Adolf Hitler demands and an agreement to try and avoid war, and in return Hitler just became bolder and wanted to attack first and just make a move because he felt like they were honestly worried about him, so he felt like he had the upper hand. Now we're going to do a think about it, check for understanding on why would people support a leader like Hitler? How can unfair treatment and economic struggles lead to conflict? And if you think about these ideas, it helps us understand how World War II began. We will just think about this as a class here for the next few minutes, and then we will again share as a class here. If anyone wants to come up here and talk about it or stay at their seat and talk about it, you can feel free to do that. The final thing that contributed to World War II was the invasion of Poland. With the appeasement not working and Germany electing Adolf Hitler as their leader, they eventually invaded Poland, and this did end up becoming the start of World War II, the actual starting point where Britain and France decided that they had enough and they couldn't make an agreement and that Hitler and Germany were going to do whatever they wanted to do, that they were kind of going rogue almost. So they officially declared war, and this started World War II in Europe. Now we're going to do a class activity in pairs or on your own, whichever you feel comfortable with. We have note cards here with appeasement, the Treaty of Versailles, Germany invading Poland, the Great Depression, the League of Nations fails, and Hitler rises to power. You can use any notes or any knowledge you have before this class here to try to put these in order. Here we go. I'll give it here 1 or 2 minutes, or you can just let me know whenever you finish putting these in order, and then I will give you the answers. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will feel free to help you as much as I can. So, does it look like you're done here?
See.
Here, I'll pull up the answers so you can compare yours to the activity here. So it looks like you got the first one right, the second one right, third one right. It looks like you mixed up these last two, the League of Nations fails and appeasement. They're pretty similar on the time. The one started right as the one finished. As the League of Nations failed, they immediately went to create an appeasement with Germany because they were worried that they were gonna branch out. But you also got the Germany invades Poland correct. So 4 of the 6 correct, that's pretty good. You only mixed up the one, so pretty decent. So this is basically a start that ended right after World War I, and that ultimately created the Depression for Germany, which then led to the rise of Hitler because he took advantage of poverty and the desperate people. And because of this, the League of Nations started failing, which was created after World War I. And since that failed, they created the appeasement. And then as the appeasement failed, Germany initially invaded Poland and started World War II. Here's a summary that you can gain from today's class. World War II was caused in part of harsh treatment and maybe some might say unfair treatment of Germany after World War II. After World War I and the rise of Hitler, who used anger and economic struggle to gain power and expand Germany's influence on the world. So, what did we learn? Today we learned that World War II developed over time. It wasn't an immediate thing. It had multiple causes, such as the Treaty of Versailles, the rise of Hitler, different groups failing, the appeasement failing. It just took lots of things to go wrong for it to eventually happen. But what can you get from this lesson here? You gotta understand that these things can help us see how conflicts grow and why history is important to study. Because ultimately the goal of history on things like this is not to repeat itself, because this is just terrible, terrible things that have happened. Here at the end of class, I have an exit ticket for you guys. So you have to complete the sentence on a half slip of paper here. Fill in the blank of one major cause of World War II was blank. The event contributed to World War I because World War II, must be a typo. Just fill this out and you can call me over and ask any questions. Feel free to use your notes, work in groups. You can ask me questions if you really do need help. And then after this, you can ask me any questions you want about World War II, what led to it, and yeah, here we go. Just let me know when you finish that exit ticket and I'll come over and check your answers, and then it will be end of class. Tomorrow's class preview here. Next class we will learn about the United States and how they entered World War II, focusing on the attacks of Pearl Harbor and its impact on the nation of America, and how it influenced the start and overall escalation and the end of World War II. You can let me know when you're done with the exit ticket and call me over and I can grab it and check it. This looks good here. So we got one more minute here until the bell rings. So in this next minute here, do you have any questions about the cause of World War II and what started it, and Yeah. Do you have any questions? You.
So was it just Germany that was causing a problem, or were there any other countries that were causing issues?
So Germany was not the only problem country. They definitely are the most well-known, and they definitely were the biggest aggressor of them. But there were other countries like Japan that were just as bad. We'll talk about them next class with their attacks on Pearl Harbor, which eventually got USA involved into World War II. So Japan was a big aggressor too. There are definitely others. It's split into 3 countries, and those are the main 2 of the 3. Any other questions? No? Well, thank you, class. I'll see you tomorrow